Hey guys, welcome back to the Tay Dewey Show. I'm Taylor Duhan. Sorry that my upload schedule's been kind of weird. I didn't upload for about a week. That's my fault. I was kind of sick and then had basketball stuff, so yeah, it's kind of crazy. But today we're going to be doing another Jubilee Reacts. What do black people think about white people? So I saw this video and I had to see what black people think about me. So let's just get into it.
I went to a school that was predominantly black when I was growing up. And when I first saw the first white kid, I was like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
I act differently around people who aren't my race.
Hold on, let me see what the line. There's a line here that say like
3, 2, 1.
I need to know what the lines look like. I think it's right. I think this is agree and this is. I think this is agree and this is disagree. I mean, I don't know. Do I? Around the boys, some out of pocket stuff is said. But I mean, normally no. I normally act the same around everybody, so I'd have to be like, no, I don't.
3, 2, 1.
I really act about the same about everybody.
I think the most important thing is
that's
just
right.
to authentically be yourself, and I don't think being around people who don't look like you should be a reason for you to act any different.
Yeah, for me, I guess it's like within the confines of like the workforce.
I was thinking code switching.
Because if you show up to a meeting talking like this, they're like, uneducated, got it. They'll use the slang to sell the products and to tweet and to get the clicks and stuff, but like as soon as a worker's there who's authentically from the area and talking like people from the area, it's like, ooh, we don't like that. Because it's always like, well, be yourself until you yourself. And then it's like, ooh, I don't like yourself. Unfortunately, in a lot of the areas of work, it's like you almost have to like lie to these people to be like, I'm a robot. I'll I love your company. Yeah. It's sick. It's sick. But it's like you have to do.
It's true. Like I feel like code switching is one part, but also like there's certain parts in my own community that aren't accepted. That when I'm around different people that look like me, I can express myself differently. Like I feel like if I talk a little proper, sometimes I get a little slack for it from my side of the family. But when I go out into the world, sometimes I like EDC, I like tech music, I like, you know what I'm saying?
See, for me, I feel like it has nothing to do with race. It more has to do with just being professional. Like if I'm at work, then I'm obviously going to be a little more proper.
I agree with this.
A little bit less slang and all of that, and just more careful with my rhetoric. But I don't think it has to do with race. The only thing I will say is like I work in political media, so I'm on camera a lot. So people already know who I am and what I'm coming with. But that being said, it's like when I'm around other black people, because I'm a Republican, sometimes they tend to be really standoffish with me or think that I don't understand the culture and all this different stuff. So sometimes I have to feel it out like, are these people who are just gonna call me an Uncle Tom? Or are these people like I can actually just keep it all the way real with? So that's the only time I feel like I act different because of race.
I also work in political media, but as a leftist, and I
Yeah,
honestly
she's super- yeah,
feel
she
like
was-
I've definitely benefited from being able to be in spaces where I've been able to be authentically myself, and I definitely think that's a privilege, especially where I grew up is just it's something that's regularly happening that people have to go through. But personally, I think I've been able to, especially now in a business side and now my new workplace, I feel like I don't have to adapt my language to make people respect me or understand where I'm trying to come from,
At what point is it like, damn, we can't even really have conversations without buttoning up and being like, oh, this is how we have to talk like this so they'll listen, or regard us as.
But do you think that's racial, or do you think that's
I don't know that it's, because I'm right, I know where you're going.
We've seen you.
I know, I think, I know exactly where it's going. I don't think it's intrinsically rooted in race, but I think just the way the social genetic makeup of people are, I think just by way of people of specific races speaking a certain way or being perceived a certain way, it tends to be more often than not rooted in race, based off of urban black Americans.
Yeah.
I think most people have barriers they put up when they get introduced to a new group. I went on disagree instead of strongly disagree because there have been situations where I get introduced to a group of someone of a different race. And yeah, at first I'm pulled back, but once I get comfortable with them, those walls come down, and then, yeah, that's where my true self comes out.
For me, it really depends because I've been shooting music videos in the hood, so I really need to basically adopt myself to become a black person. So for me, it's not a problem like meeting
Sounds out
new
of pocket.
races. I always like vibe and chill with people.
Do you think adapting yourself to those different ethnicities is like something that's required to foster like a successful relationship?
Like, I would say it's really more for your survival because, you know, like if you are the only white guy on set and like there's like people with like guns and stuff and you know, you just really need to like fit in and just be chill with it.
You're from the Ukraine, right? Do you feel like not having grown up with American culture as a whole, and then especially not growing up with our subcultures, do you feel like that's influenced the way you move when you're moving between our subcultures?
I can't tell. This is like completely off topic, but I can't tell if she looks like a Republican or a liberal.
My like mentality is kind of mixed because like from the age of like 13,
He's like super
I really
lib.
started
Same with her.
to learn
He
English.
looks pretty lib as well.
From that, I
The guy
really
behind the black
learned
guy.
a lot. Like I really got the American like mentality more, and basically like my mentality is like mixed because like in Ukraine, if we see a black person, we call them the N-word, and from our side, it's not offensive. Like we say it not from a offensive way, but some people can because you know, like you don't see a black person there.
I can understand that because I went to a school that was predominantly black when I was growing up. And when I first saw the first white kid, I was like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? So, like, it was a white girl with like red hair, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen this before. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand that, like, when a white person comes to a predominantly black group, then you're going to try your best to adapt to our culture, to be like, okay, hey, I get along with you. This is my way of like telling you, like, hey, I'm like extending an olive branch, basically. So, yeah.
Personally, not to sound triggered, but I just don't like the notion that you're becoming a black person by pretending to be hood or adopting a hood
just like
mentality
the
because
slang.
not all black people are hood, not all black people are
course.
ghetto. I understand what you're trying to say, and I don't know if it's a language barrier, so I don't want to like come at you like you're saying something racist, but I just really am anti black people being defined as ghetto and hood because there's a lot of classy black people out there.
Yes, there's a lot of intelligent Afro-Americans out there, and it really like depends on.
Dude, that's like he like took what he said like so out of pocket, like out of context. Like he's saying like he had to adapt to his surroundings because he was in the hood, like he's in the ghetto, and so that's why he had to adapt. Not that all black people are in the hood and ghetto. He didn't say that. Like I don't know.
On like where you grew up in.
Also, if you are hood and ghetto like me, you can also be all those things too.
White people also experience race-based prejudice.
Yes. 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 Strongly agree. Yes. 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 Yes.
Since you guys
You
probably
little
don't know, I
freaking
have
racist. He's a racist. I hate him now. I hate him. He's a little racist.
lived overseas. I've lived in Asian countries. In Japan, there are certain restaurants and stuff like that that you could walk into. You can see people dining in the restaurant and they're gonna tell you they're closed just because you're white or you're American. So the idea that white people can't really experience racism kind of contradicts the very definition of the word, because the definition of racism is prejudice based on one's skin color. White people do experience it, but to a different degree.
While I do think that our white brothers and sisters in Christ can experience racial-based prejudice, I don't want to overlook the nuance of that prejudice, because it's not necessarily rooted in anything systematic or anything that's gonna actually have long-term effects, knock on wood, that are gonna like debilitate a race or inhibit their chances or possibility of succeeding or being seen as.
That's exactly what that is. Like, what are you talking about?
As better than POC.
I definitely think it's a non-issue, racism towards white people, especially specifically, I want to, like, in America. I don't think it's something that needs to be highlighted as an issue that is a constant threat to lives, day-to-day well-being, progress and success in life in general, because it's not something that's going to inhibit you, and you don't have to walk out your door and think, I'm about to be attacked, like people of color do every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Like, why are you thinking that? Like, America is the most safe country in the world for any race. So you're thinking you're getting attacked? Like, where are you living? You living in the hood? I wonder who's living in the hood.
Agree that white people haven't been put through centuries of hell like black people were, but prejudice towards white people 100% exists. Like, whether it's in TV, if it's in movies, like if you watch predominantly black media, there's a lot of roasting towards white people that if it was the other way around, that would never be acceptable today. Then you go on social media like TikTok and you look up white people.
I don't know, they got like white people slang, like white people slur list, like what they call white people on TikTok and stuff. Just look it up. It's wild, bro. It is crazy what they got on that TikTok, bro. It is wild.
Bad. You will see videos where they're attacking white people for things that their ancestors did 200 years ago. There are societal benefits at this point for being a person of color, and that those negatively affect white people. Like, if you look at affirmative action, diversity quotas in the workplace, all these different things, they lower the bar for black people, but then increase the bar for white people. However, I think where some of the issue comes is because a lot of marginalized groups and people of color back in the day went through so much worse that it's easy for us to discredit the prejudice that white people now deal with today.
I think like on an individualistic level, like yeah, white people get hate all the time. But I think if you zoom out and you look at the big picture, it's a little bit different. And like talking about like YouTube having, you know, racist content for anyone out there, it's like I would have to go and seek that out versus it like coming to me. Versus like on Twitter.
Against white people?
Yeah, I would have to like look for a video being like, oh, people who hate white people.
Oh, they're like really popular. They get like millions and millions of views. So people aren't just looking it up like white hate videos. Like, I mean, you can, but I mean.
I agree.
Like versus like Twitter, I don't have to scroll very long before I see some person making some out-of-pocket comment about
and regulation being lifted so people can see that even more so.
Right.
Absolutely, that's 100% right. And even saying affirmative action, statistically and on paper, white people, white women were benefiting more from affirmative action at colleges than any other demographic. So it's all.
What are you talking about? Statistically, what statistics? White women? Alright, that's so stupid. So, like, literally, like, what are you talking about? White women benefited from affirmative action? Are you freaking mental? Like, it's so freaking stupid. That is so stupid.
I also don't think that's fair to say, but I definitely get what you mean. And again, I think the prejudice is still there, though.
And I will say that black people do deal with prejudice. I think every demographic deals with prejudice. There are racist people everywhere. Like, I just don't think systemic racism is an issue anymore in today's society, but I do think that there are racist people out there.
I think that there's a really important distinction. Our language is constantly evolving, and you were talking about the definition of racism. Our societal definition has changed to include a systemic part of it. And I completely disagree with this idea that people of color don't have systemic things against them still. Because the fact that we still have the KKK, the fact that we still have these things, and they are in positions of power.
Yeah, she's super lip. She's super lip. She's a freaking idiot. That doesn't... Systemic racism is like generational racism. Like, they're permanently held. No one is forcing you to be worse off. It's a culture thing. That's what the problem is. The problem isn't racism. It's a culture problem. And what do I mean by that? If you, man, like, this is such a hot topic. Like, I can barely speak about this because I don't want to get like a strike or anything. But like, what is it? Like the teen pregnancy rate for I think black teens and then white teens is like crazy different. Like, it is way higher. And you say, oh, what about abortion and all? I'm not saying births. I'm saying pregnancy rates. Just getting pregnant is higher in the black communities than it is. It's like, let me look it up for you. It is, let me see. What is the teen pregnancy rate? For non-Hispanic black women, it is 76 per 1,000 girls. And then for non-Hispanic white women, it's 30 pregnancies per 1,000 girls, which is crazy. The black is over double. It's over double, that's a culture problem. Let's just get that out of the way. And so, if you're getting pregnant as a teen, it makes your life way harder, which can make financial problems occur, which could make you have a less monetary and wealthy life. So with just that one piece of evidence, here, let me see where this is from. It's power2decide.org, which I'm assuming is an abortion place website, which I would assume there's their statistics are pretty accurate. But just with that, you can already disprove systemic racism. The KKK does exist, sadly, but that doesn't mean that, like, what do you mean by they're in power? Even if they are in power, they can make no legislation to attack black people. They can't. Like, she has no understanding of politics. None. About bill making, legislation, none of it. Because you have to get a majority vote to pass a bill. Like, if you had to hang all black people and you have the president of the United States, he couldn't just do that. He can't. Even if he was already elected and he had all the power, he can't do that. He can't. He has no power to do it because the Senate can veto it. There's a million other things they can do. She has no understanding of politics. It's ridiculous.
As long as that exists, and as long as that's a part of our country's like makeup right now, which it is, and that's our power structure, I don't feel like you can honestly deny systemic racism against the black community, which is why prejudice is so different from racism. I don't think white people can experience racism in this country.
God,
that we can experience.
Dang it! She's a freaking lib. If you call me a cracker, like this lady's like, you dumb white cracker, she said that to me, or even this lady, that's racist. That's racism. That's the definition of racism. She even said the definition. Like, so stupid. It's so stupid, bro.
Prejudice based on the societal definitions we now use.
Being sexually unattracted to a race is racist.
Okay, guys, bro. Okay. Look. All I gotta say, if it's snowing, I'm going, okay? But doesn't mean I'm racist, bro. It doesn't mean I'm racist.
I think where the line gets drawn is when if a white male is sitting there swiping and he's just like, I don't like black girls, they're all ugly. They have too big of lips. I think that's
racist. If you're like, I don't even know if that's racism. Like, gosh. Okay. Let's just go on a limb here and say that. Let's say that. Okay, we'll reverse it. Say white women have the biggest noses you ever saw. All white women had bigger noses than black women. And I came in and I'm like, I don't really like girls with big noses. If I said I don't like white girls with big noses, that's racist. Or if I said I don't like black girls with big noses, that's racist. But if you just say I don't like big noses, that's not racism. And I don't know. Freaking. Man, I've seen some attractive African American women, but I mean, I don't know. It's not racist. That's all I gotta say. It's not racist. It's not racist.
where the line gets drawn, but you can't really help what you're attracted to. Like, my fiance is Mexican, and it's like, I like him for who he is, not how he looks.
I think that we are
that means he's ugly, I'm not gonna lie.
To be attracted and to respond to people that we grow up and around with. So homogeneously, we grow up with people who look like us. So when you move into dating and things like that, statistically, you're going to be attracted to people that you grew up seeing, right? However, when you are discrediting a certain race for whatever reason based off their ethnicity, meaning everybody who did exist, is existing, and will exist from that race, you are not feeling anything. Q, I don't control your body or your thoughts, but on one hand, I'm like, let's maybe unpack that. Also, where's my camera? To all the girls that's putting this in their bios, that's none of our business. Stop doing that. Keep that to yourself. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear it.
For me, I think that, like, we're talking about conditioning and how we grew up, right? If you go to, like, South Africa, for instance, which within some of our lives.
Oh, South Africa's, like, super racist, not gonna lie. They had all this stuff, like, kill the white people and stuff. Like, it's real bad over there. Like, if you're white, don't go to South Africa, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't go. Don't go.
Had apartheid. If you grow up in that, especially as a black person, where you're constantly being mistreated by every single white person, and you're conditioned to be like, white person, no thank you.
Hold on, wait, what's it?
If you grow up in that, especially talking about conditioning and how we grew up, right? If you go to, like, South Africa, for instance, which within some of our lifetimes had apartheid. If you grow up in that, especially as a black person, where you're constantly being mistreated by every single white person.
I don't know what she's talking about, dude. Like, what?
Conditioned to be like, white person, no thank you. I don't think that's racist.
I agree, and I did not grow up in South Africa with apartheid.
Yeah.
However, like I said,
used
the
it
nickname
extremely.
of my town was Clancy. Like a lot of my interactions growing up were incredibly racist, and I'm dating a white guy. So I totally get what you mean. I don't want to discredit black people or anyone who's had those kind of situations, because it's not that they're not dating white people. It's
Yeah.
definitely, it's more like they're cautious.
I think you used the perfect word earlier. Is it conditioned or?
Did you know that your old YouTube channel has actually been making you money every single day?
Dang, I've gotten $0. This guy's capping, bro.
I was thinking about it on terms of me being a black woman. I feel like it's a lot different when it is a black woman going into dating someone that is not of their race. I can tell you from my experience with dating Hispanic men, white, whatever, they've only seen Jerry Springer and Maury. So it's like they have a whole different idea of what a black woman is. Like before my husband changed a lot, one of the comments made to me was he was afraid of me going to his house with braids in my hair, because then they would assume that I was a different kind of girl instead of looking at me for who I am.
I have been denied access because of my race.
Alright, I have not, so I guess I would go this way. How do you strongly disagree to something like this? I strongly have never been, no, like, I guess I disagree, because I haven't.
I can go anywhere. I can sit down anywhere.
I strongly
and
disagree.
I am not going to be denied.
Oh, shoot! Okay. Technically, I have not, but I have seen things like, it's like, black only people come, please if you're white do not come, which is like hella racist. So I want to say I've personally experienced racism, but
because of how I look.
Not-
and I would
not
be
racism,
ignorant
but
to not admit that.
like,
And I'm
deny.
going to counter that with we are justifiably not let into spaces. And our whiteness takes away access to things like powwows. And there's an island in Hawaii that's only for natives or for like safe spaces for black communities or whatever else. We are justifiably denied access because of our skin.
Period. We love the nuance.
The thing about Hawaii, though,
Yeah.
Hawaii is stolen land. I believe that they have every right to be able to say only we're allowed to go here,
Just
because
racist.
that was theirs.
Racist.
It was literally stolen land that was stolen by white people.
Yes. No, but that's why
Yeah.
it's justifiably, it's still denied access.
Yeah.
But it is justifiable, 100%. Don't
Yeah,
let me
it's
in.
denied access, but it's justifiable. But it's like in my own day-to-day life, I could go anywhere. I can sit down anywhere. I can go read a book in a library. I can go to Starbucks. People
Okay,
don't
I'm not gonna
care.
lie, guys. Like, if I went over to Compton, bro, and I was like walking, like, not gonna lie, bro, I might die. So is that like denied access or like what? Like, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Gotta get a
Because of how I
definition.
look, and so they don't feel the need to be like, you can't be here.
But like in your day-to-day life, are you being denied access? Like, are you trying to go to that island that they
No.
won't let you? Okay.
Then I think that's a really good question. Has it happened? I guess. Because, like,
would
are you
say
seeking
yeah.
those spaces then?
I'm not necessarily seeking them. If I am already aware that this is like, hey, this is for us, not for you. I'm not gonna show up and be like, yeah, but like, I'm a cool white person. But there are spaces that we are not allowed, and I think that's okay.
No, it is okay, but if you're not actively
No, it's
seeking
not
to be
okay.
part
It's not okay.
of those circles, you're not being denied access to them.
That's exactly what it is, you freaking idiot. Like, duh! That's the exact, like, you're an app, like, he's mentally not thinking right.
Sure, and I can say that maybe those are not the best examples, but like I think especially because my social circles are predominantly people of color, there are definitely things where they're like, where I've had them be like, this is not a conversation for you, and I'm like, okay. I
Damn,
have
that's
had
like super racist.
those experiences. I'm okay.
I would've
with
just
them.
been like,
I wanna
nope,
be
I'm
clear.
out.
Like,
No more friends.
I think there should be spaces that aren't for me, and that is okay.
That's not okay.
But they've existed and they've been in my life.
That's not okay. That's not
I
right.
have just one really specific example. Otherwise, I feel like in general, I'm not denied access because of my race, just in my experience. But I had an ex whose stepfather was wildly racist, like Nazi memorabilia, like just insane individual. And I was never allowed over her house because of him. And the one time that I kind of snuck in, he was staring at me through the window. And I'll never forget that in my life, the way that man was staring at me through the window and then cursed out his kids for having me in the house. That man's now in prison for doing God knows what, but it's where he belongs.
I was looking for funding for my film, and most of them are for colored people. And I totally understand that. And there is like not many that I found that are for like everyone.
I don't like
My
that.
mind
Like,
would be like, you know,
like, I don't like the idea, like, oh, only black people get this money and black people get this money. No white people, only for, like, or even if it was, like, if they had any program like that for white people, it would be over instantaneously, like, sued for prejudice. Like that's horrible. Like, I hate it. I hate the idea. She's smirking at it. She's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's so cool that only the black people get this money and the white people don't get this money. Like, I hate it. I hate it. You can help people. That's fine. But don't restrict it to the specific group, especially by race. That's horrible. I don't think that's right.
damn, I cannot do it. Like, I cannot apply to it. But from the other side, I understand that
No.
the black community, like, you guys need to get your movies out there.
If anything,
I
I
was about
feel
to say
like
something
I've been
weird.
invited too much. You know, I feel like I'm
real.
kind of like an undercover agent where I'm like because I talk a certain way or because
Yeah.
I present myself a certain way, they assume like, oh, I could say this in front of you.
100%.
And I'm like, what'd you say?
Exactly.
You know, I've never
That's
really
it.
been.
Now, I'll say that too. I've been
Yeah.
tokenized so many times.
like, I don't want
we
that,
have to
right?
have you here. We need young black representation. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm gonna stay home.
I am proud of my race.
Yep. I'm proud to be white. White all the way. White lives matter, guys. White lives matter.
3, 2,
You little
1.
freaking racist. Okay, let me pause. I mean, like all the white, like, I don't give a frick about my race. Like, genuinely, I care about my heritage and my history, but my skin color, like the color of my skin, I couldn't care less about. I want to care if I'm rainbow colored for all I care. Like, I do not care. I care about my history, not my skin color.
I will go first, and I will stand 10 toes in.
I was just being ironic to
I
stand over
think-
there.
Okay, baby. I was like, please no.
No, I'll go
Here, I cried a little bit.
I was
I
being
think that,
messy.
like, and I'll just keep it specific to my experience of what I know. As Black Americans, we're pretty much the top culture that gets replicated, referenced. People scoot in and scoot out because they want to seem cool and interesting and stuff. And I think that that's so kind of us to like kind of like be beaten down for so long and be kind of separated from our African roots, create names for ourselves, culture, language around our identities as Black Americans and have that be a thing that's just reverberating across the globe. I think that's so cute, can never be replicated, can never be understated, and I love that about it.
That was kind of the start of my like thought process too, like just the basis of being torn down so adamantly, so regularly for hundreds of years in law.
I thought you were
even,
about to say thousands of years.
it is insane that we are here today to even be on camera, to even be in a place with other white people. Like, it is a beautiful thing that we have been able to flourish in such dirt, like literal filth and grime that our ancestors had to go through and even our grandparents had to go through. Like, and
What? Not your grandparents.
my 8th grade yearbook I saw recently said, like, the South will rise again. Like, and this was 2015. So like, this is such a day-to-day thing, and I am proud to be Black, and it's hard to say that. Like, it was hard to say that as a kid, like, or else I could be called the N-word. I could be.
No, how is it hard to say that? How is it so hard? Because you grew up probably in a very privileged area. I don't know. But all the way she sounded like she grew up in a white area. She's like, oh, they would have called me the N-word if I would have said I'm proud to be Black. Which is probably grew up in a very nice, gated community, I guarantee it. So, it's just so frustrating. I've been oppressed my whole life because I'm Black. We've been marginalized and the South will rise again. It's just so frustrating.
reprimanded, and I feel so blessed to even be.
You will
able
be
to think that.
reprimanded for saying, I'm proud to be Black.
Everybody.
You know what would happen if I went out and I wanted to any place ever? I'm like, I'm proud to be white. Like if I went over to Compton or some freaking crazy area and I said I'm proud to be, I would get shot. I would literally be killed for saying that probably. But no, you could go anywhere and say that and you'd be fine. Anywhere. That just puts that in perspective. Like, I can't say that, and you can. Like, if I went on TikTok, I'm like, I'm proud to be white. I'm proud to be a white man. I would get I'd probably get kicked off of freaking TikTok. They'd be like, oh, this is racism, hate speech, and everyone would be a million things on it. Like, you can't, a white person can't say they're proud to be white. They can't. But you can.
Everybody needs to be proud of their race and stop this like racist bullshit, because like you could be green, red, black, white, Hispanic, like it doesn't matter.
I agree with like what you're saying, because my own personal belief is that at the basis of who we are is that we're all just people. We're not a skin tone. But because of those before me, I now have to fight back against the idea that all white people are racist. I remember being in 4th grade and learning about the Holocaust for the first time and saying, I don't want to be German anymore. Meanwhile, my mother's whole family is German. American history, you look at things like slavery, you look at things...
Americans were actually the first people to end slavery. Just saying. Well, not the first, but we ended slavery pretty well. Pretty well. We ended it. I think Europe ended it a little bit before. I'm not sure when Europe ended it, but I'm pretty sure America. It's like 1865 when America ended it, so just saying.
Things like Jim Crow laws, segregation. There is so much awful stuff that has happened and is still happening in closeted ways that I cannot be proud of the way that I look.
Yeah, for me, like,
so
I am proud of who I am, like who I grew up to be, like I like who I am, but like, if I were to say I'm a proud white man, like I don't even know what that means. Like, there have been 0 racial hurdles in my life. Now, like, I'm a proud gay man because like I've had to go through shit to get to where I am now.
What does that even mean? You don't have to go through crap to be proud of something. Like, what? None of these people have gone through anything. None of them. None of them. It's the, at least this guy admits it. She's capping. He is extra capping. They've gone through no extreme racial epidemics. They haven't. I guarantee they haven't. I'm not saying they haven't had hardships in their life. I'm saying that they haven't struggled their entire lives because of the color of their skin. That's what I'm saying. Which, it's just so crazy.
There have been 0 racial hurdles in my life. Now, like, I'm a proud gay man because like I've had to go through shit to get to where I am now. And you know, even to that point, so much of queer culture comes from black culture, so thank you.
How?
I want to be proud of the things I've done, the people who I've touched, whose hearts I've opened up. I feel like it's beyond our race. I feel like what it is our experiences that make our light shine through. So that's what I'm proud of, actually. Yeah.
I think that there's a really big difference between being proud to be black and being proud to be white. So being proud of your culture, beautiful thing. Like, be proud to be Ukrainian. I'm proud to be Slavic. The black community is different, and the reason it's different is because their culture, specifically black Americans, their culture was stripped away from them when they were brought over here. So,
you want to know who did that? This is freaking insane. You know, I wonder how the blacks were enslaved. Hold on. It was actually the Africans enslaved other Africans and then sold the enslaved Africans to the white people. So their history was stripped away from them from the white people, from the black people, I mean, from the black people. The black African-Americans, Africans, not African-Americans, the Africans enslaved other Africans and sold them to the Americans. So it's not the white man's fault for your history being done. It's your own freaking continent. The other Africans enslaved. That's just wild. It's wild. She clearly knows nothing about history. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Being black American, you're like the race became cultural.
I mixed that up.
So
Sorry about the hate.
Yeah, but like, so I think that there's a really big difference between like I am proud of my people are Slavic, versus I am proud of my race. It just gets convoluted because black Americans, the race has become the culture because the culture was stripped away.
I also think oftentimes when you talk about white pride versus black pride, oftentimes black pride is rooted in like love and like perseverance of like culture, customs, language, and things like that, and white pride is often rooted in like black hate, Latin hate.
What are you talking? What are you? Like, this is like the most I'm proud to be white. I guess I'm proud to be white now, and like I'm racist now. I guess I'm racist. Yep. You know, because he said it. He said it. I'm racist.
Asian hate. So I think that's like
Asian hate. Asian hate for white people. Whoa. Look at his face, bro. Oh my gosh. No. 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 Oh my gosh, bro. Affirmative action. Which like this is like ridiculous. Harm. I gotta get this. Gotta get this. Worst. Hold on. Let me do this. Hold on. Don't worry, guys. It's gonna be in our thumbnail today. This one. Very nice. Let me say that. Oh, whoopsies. Alright, guys. Back to the video. This guy's an idiot.
an interesting nuance to not overlook.
No, and I think that's such an important point. I think there's a difference between like, I'm proud and therefore I'm better, versus I am proud of what we have overcome.
Yeah, and then the whole idea of white pride started with people who think the Confederate flag is a personality trait. So how can I be proud of that?
What?
I'm not saying that this applies to any of you, but I meet a lot of white people, particularly white liberals, who will actively say that they're ashamed of being white. And that is wild to me, because how can you look at your past and because, yes, your race did terrible things in the past, but you shouldn't
Damn, that's like, what? That's like so freaking, my race? No. White? Like that's, everybody's race has done horrible things. But to specifically single out the white people, that is so racist. It's so racist. It's incredibly racist.
Yourself as that. If anything, you should look at that and reflect.
So do you think white people should be proud to be specifically white?
See, I think that's a really nuanced question when you're white, because I think you guys have the valid point of ethnicity is different, because like white isn't a collective culture in the way that black is, because black people have been grouped together and have a similar experience.
What do you mean it's a collective culture? White is European and European is from Europe. Europe is most of classical music, by most I mean all of it. Fun fact, if you want to talk about cultural appropriation, the earliest form of rap music was actually made by white people, which was, what's the word for it? It's the old form of music. It's like a classical. It's like the really fast classical music, and they added lyrics to it. And that was the oldest form of rap music. It was made by white guys. It's a fun fact. Yeah, European culture is basically all of ancient art. What's it called? Like, it's basically most of the paintings, so that's white culture. Music, most of music is white. What else? What else would be white culture? A lot of cooking. I mean, a lot of it. Yeah, basically anything from Europe. Anything from Europe is white.
But like white, like Italian American, you should definitely be proud of being Italian American. You should be proud of being Slavic American. You should be proud of your lineage. But just to say, oh, I'm proud to be white, like, yeah, that has a weird connotation to it because it's not a collective culture. But what I really want to emphasize is that you should not be ashamed of being white in the way that a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should.
Okay.
You probably
At that point, it's on you.
That makes me so mad. It makes me like I'm genuinely disappointed now. Like I'm actually just disappointed. I'm just like I'm just so sad, guys. Like it's just frustrating. Yeah, guy said he did conservative, like Republican. He's No, freak, he's not. He's not Republican. Freaking lib. He's a liar. All right, guys. We're going to be reacting to this video next. So stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys next video. Probably tomorrow. Maybe not. But see you guys next time. Peace out.